all you people in their YouTube land watching things on your little boxes. We've got another video for today. Luckily for you, it's going to be a firearm video. You might have seen a preview of this weapon in the short I did. I grabbed it from the antique shop just to do the restoration. They're not paying me. I'm not paying them. Why would I pay them? Anyways. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about this here. 1850's Belgium double barrel shotgun. It is muzzle loading, percussion cap.
Excessive gas concentration.
If you hear that noise, there's chemicals in here right now. They're making things stinky for some reason. I don't know why. But anyways, long story short, we're going to take this thing apart and we're going to do the preservation like we did on the rolling block. And we're going to see how this turns out. And hopefully everything will come out looking pretty spiffy. Alright, let's get. First thing we got to do is you need to get this cross pin out, and that will allow us to take the barrels off. You can see it has some wear and tear on the wood as well, but we'll get to that once I get the barrels off. It'll be a lot easier to handle. So to start with, I will need a little hammer, a petite hammer, and I will take a petite punch. This one's particularly stiff, so I'm just getting the punch up under there. Light taps, comes right out. Now, the added problem with this one, though, is the ramrod is stuck in there. So the question is, can I get it out with the ramrod stuck? And the answer is, I don't think so. And that's not a big deal. So the ramrod's not original. The ramrod actually I made real quick. Quick and dirty. And the problem is, when I took it to the antique shop, it wasn't a perfect fit. So the guys go, oh, we'll just hammer it in. Yeah, that didn't work. Because now I can't get it. Whee! Got it out, guys.
Gas concentration.
That was a lot of work for the stupid ramrod. Alright. Back to the way we were. Memories of the way we were. Alright. Shotgunish. Gunny. Hammer back. Lift it off. Alright, so let's look at some of these proof marks on here, shall we? Oh, out of focus. Still out of focus. Alright, so here we go. What do we got for markings? We got quite a few markings. They're not all legible just yet. You have your Belgian marking. You have these 3 strikes. I'm not sure what they mean. Maybe somebody out there does and they can explain. You also have, looks like a number 16 or 160. Probably 16 for 16 gauge, I'm thinking. You have another little kind of proof mark here. You got some dings, which I don't think are proof marks. And then you have what could be a serial number here. 2069. It's upside down to you and it's upside down to me, so I apologize for that. It is what it is. And there seems to be an R here. What all that means, a little more research, but for now I'm just going to leave it as a mystery because this gun still needs to be boiled and conserved. So I'll do the research on that and follow up with you as soon as I know any more. But there's the barrel. It's really not in great shape. It's not in horrible shape. I mean, it's got remnants of a sight on it. It's been oiled. I can tell you right now, you can see back here, there's a lot of rust and gunk. No doubt from corrosive percussion caps, mercurial fulminate and stuff like that. The same thing that is the bane of modern firearms and military ammo. Corrosive primers.
Excessive gas concentration.
Alright. So set that aside. Getting ready for some boiling. Take out the wood. Let me get the thing out of here. So here's the wood. You can see the channel and where the ramrod will screw into there eventually. A little notch for the retaining pin. Some nice little details up here. I don't mind those. It's pretty good to me. That's unfortunately not going to come off the firearm to be preserved because it is crimped in place, so I'm going to leave that as is. But all the other metal is going to have to come off. And I don't know why the back of this gun is so oily, but it's oily now. So the one issue with this you guys might be seeing is missing hammer on that side. I'm not super concerned. I'll probably just 3D print a hammer just for looks and throw it on there so at least it looks complete once it's on the wall. I wouldn't fire this. These are one of these firearms. I think I was talking last time with the Remington about how you don't want to fire especially shotguns that are pre-1900. They have a tendency to explode. Alright, let me just close my properties here. Sorry, guys. Alright. Let's get on with the getting on. Let's get some screwdrivers here. My little tray for my parts. That part already needs to go in there. I apparently knocked my selfie camera out of alignment. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to lower that hammer so I don't have any pressure on that spring. Now I'm going to grab a screwdriver. Leave the hammer in place for now, guys. Just worry about taking the side plates off.
Excessive gas concentration.
I need a thinner and wider. That is both thinner and wider. I haven't put any Loctite on this. I don't know if it, sorry, Loctite, penetrating oil. I don't think it's going to need it. No, that just came off like no effort, so I'm not too worried about that. So after all these parts are removed, let me lock off that focus, guys. Alright, focus is locked off, brightness is up, so hopefully you get a better idea of the rifle. Oh no, my properties didn't stick. Alright, back again. So hopefully you guys can see things a bit better now. And you can get a good idea of the dirt on the wood, where it's shiny, where it's been, or smooth and, you know, bright, versus this kind of mottled, dirty look. Alright, so side plate off. There. Looks like it goes straight through. So I should, yeah, be able to just lift that off. One lock mechanism. This one concerns me a little bit because I don't know the status of the spring, whether or not it's... Be careful if you're doing anything like this. I'm going to flip it over and do the...
Excessive gas concentration.
So what I'm doing now is I'm just tapping it and trying to get this plate to pop itself off. There we go. See, no prying required. So what is the status of the spring? It appears to be in the same, I would call it unlocked position, simply because it's not under tension. So, good. The rest of the metal, let's get that. Trigger guard. Alright guys, sorry about that. I made a huge mistake recording here. You're going to see a magic jump from the assembled locks to the disassembled locks. I apologize for that. There will be a reassembly, so sorry guys. But anyways, you can see the components I'm breaking it down to right now. I mean, there is a lot of gunk and gross stuff on here that really shouldn't be. Alright, let's get the butt plate off. I'm going to start with the purtiest screw. Like butter. Like absolute butter. Hot screw. Hot screw. This is crunchy butter, this one. And that butt plate wants to come off all by itself. Any markings? No markings, just gunk and grossness. There's a nice split there, though. Look at that. Can't see that under the buddy stock. There's a very dirty butt. Keep your butts clean, guys. Come on, clean your butts on a regular basis. Quit leaving your dirty butt for other people to clean up. I ain't your mama. I ain't gonna clean your bums. Alright, so we're gonna do what we did the last one. I've gotten all the metal I can get off of this. Ow! Hot dirt. Right now it's just looking shiny because of the WD-40. So, but back to this. Ballistol, steel wool it all. Again, I'm not putting any real pressure. Oh my god, this stuff does stink. Let me just get some of this excess. So there's one that's just been, again, not buffed, not polished, just cleaned. Difference? After. Before, after. Nickel will not tarnish, so you shouldn't see a finish on your nickel. If you see a finish on your nickel like this, like I'm saying, I'm pretty sure that that's a varnish on there. And the other nice thing about this too, if there is an external varnish on here from like furniture, this light buffing with this steel wool will also remove some of that varnish that builds up and discolors with time. crystallize, not dry. And my hands are incredibly dirty. I don't know how much is Danish oil and how much of it is Canadian oil. Oh god, I got it all over my hands. Let's try Ballistol.
Excessive gas
I've never done this, but
concentration.
Ballistol is supposed to be safe, so it's safe, but it did not stop. It didn't take the stuff off my hands. I still got them. Alright, so last thing to do is my little tray of parts here. I'm going to throw in an ultrasonic bath for 5 or 10 minutes at about 50 degrees Celsius. Let them do their thing, and then when I'm done, I will come back. And I'll also, so when I'm done boiling that, sorry, when I'm done cleaning this into ultrasonic, I will come back and I will then boil. Sorry, I won't come back. I will boil, and then I will come back, card, reassemble, oil, and all that good stuff. All right, it's been a few seconds for you guys, but as you can see, the parts have been boiled, and they look horrible. And I kind of said it before, this is what you want to see when it comes to carding. You want your parts to look like crap before you start carding them. And that goes the same for the barrel as well. Let me zoom out a bit. Get my mousse out of the way. So you can see it looks pretty jagged. That's what you want to see. Remember guys, this is going to be a wall hanger. It's not going to be a museum piece. I am going to actually touch this up. I don't know why. I think it looks to me like somebody took steel wool or something. It's hard to say, but this shouldn't be in the bright. So after I'm carding, I'm going to cold blue that. So moving on. But before I start carding the wood, let's have a look at the stock. It's right now very tacky, sticky, gross. So I'm going to take some of the lint-free cloths, and I'm going to get the excess oil off of this thing. In it. Well, we card the rest of the stock. So it's looking shinier, but that's just a lot of wax making it look shiny right now. So we'll let that dry. Wipe my hands off. And when I come back, I will have the carding wheel set up. Okay, so the carding wheel is set up. We've been over this before, but I don't mind going over it every time. So this is a very, very, very fine steel. It's the same as kind of like using this here, but it just speeds everything up. So let's get down to it, shall we? I am going to cold blue this area just to give you an idea. One way of cold bluing. And like I said, this is not a scene area. This is, you know, something nobody will probably even see, but it bugs me. So I was saying a little bit of heat. This is just one of those, you know, cheapo butane torches. Like I said, there's not trying to get this red hot. I'm just trying to get it warm. You could do this with a heat gun as well. Keep in mind, it is going to be soaking up a lot of the heat. It's a big metal barrel. It's going to act like a giant heat sink. So you're not going to get this red hot, and that's not my goal. Like I was saying, I just want to get it warm. That way when I use the bluing chemical, it will just act a little bit quicker, a little bit deeper. But again, I don't want it to contrast. I don't want it to be midnight black. I think that's good enough. The bluing chemical, this could be super blue. It could be anything you want. Now, if you do rub bluing in, it can give you a metallic effect. And if you see that happening, just switch off to something like a Q-tip if you want to add a little more liquid as opposed to rubbing it in. Rubbing in, you can get a metallic effect almost you may not want. A metallic blue, should I say, sorry. Be more specific there. This yellowing here seems to be some sort of varnish, so I don't expect the bluing to work through that. And I'm not going to get in there with steel wool and scrub it off because you could do more damage than good at that point. Just trying to blend it in. And if you ask me, I think it's looking pretty well blended. Except for up here where there's varnish. But back here, looks pretty good. Alright, that's enough cold blue. So the next part for the barrel and any other parts that don't fit into the little vat here, I'm going to have to just slather those in some oil. Oiled, carded, all that good stuff. And I hope you can see there's a pretty good difference between before and after. The hammer in particular. So all in all, I'm happy with that. I did have one problem. The trigger that was missing, I found, and it was poorly soldered. Poorly soldered along here, and it actually broke. So no way of really putting it back in the rifle. I'm going to hold on to the part, and hopefully I can fix it at some point in the future before this thing sells. and get it back in the firearm. But for now, it's going to be single lock, single trigger, whatever. It's a wall hanger. I don't think many people are going to notice a missing trigger. I don't think. Alright, so quick update, guys. I got the trigger TIG welded, so let's see. There we go. Doot, doot, and boop. All good. And the second one shouldn't really do anything, so I don't care. Alright. Most shotguns have double triggers, so that said, those are the parts, and I got to get back to reassembly. And I'm getting thirsty. It is hot in here today, and I'm doing a lot of talking. So, as promised, let's go back to a wider shot. So that's the main spring. This is the broken side, so I'm going to leave that to itself because it has its own issues. And I apologize once more for missing the disassembly. That was my fault. Obviously, it can't be your fault. So we got to put our plate back together. And I can take a drink because I'm thirsty. Nothing better than a cold pop. Okay, that's the working tumbler. It fits in there some way. Honestly, I can't really remember the correlation between everything, but if I have to, I can go back and check my video. If I were you guys, there's that little that's got to come down like so. And those are your sears, those little, let's get it closer, shall we? Little notch marks there, those are your sears. So we know that's going to be interacting with one of these two trigger bars. I say one of these two because I do believe there's a left and a right. See, they're mirrored. Alright, let's get that for sure. And because this didn't fully come apart, it gives us some idea how it goes together. Oop, that didn't fully come apart. So we know the long side fits like so. And it's going to take a screw. Put them in backwards and check the heads because there's two screws here that look nearly identical. And they're probably interchangeable, but one's a little bit longer, one's a little bit shorter, one's a little bit fatter, one's a little bit skinnier. The fat one fits in there, so I'm going to go with the fat one goes in there. Snug that up. And I think I already got that wrong. That should be... yeah, that should be on the other side. Okay. Now for the sear and the trigger bar. You know what? I'm going to go with the way I had it before was right. Guys, forgive me, I'm turning on a fan. I'm suffocating in here. So I apologize if there's any background noise, but this is not a studio. This is not even a house. This is my crappy work shed. Spin, you fan. Alright, that feels better. So it was right the first way. Like so. Now the sear, that will hang down. Let's see. That sear goes there. Put that screw there. Alright, so push the trigger, hammer will drop it. I gotta loosen that screw up, that screw's too tight. Hammer will drop. Oh my god. Oh my god. It is sticky. Alright, those screws have to be a bit loose, or else it will bind. Okay, so remember I was saying don't take this out? This is why. So there's a peg here, goes in that hole, lower part of the spring rests against there, and this little hook has to grab this little stirrup here. With the spring compressed, makes it very easy. I think I might be getting invaded by a helicopter army. Just like so. Slowly release the spring tension. Alright. Get in there with a bit of steel wool. Get that conversion layer off. Get in with some WD-40. Some gun oil. You know what? I'm just gonna cheat. Ballistol. Ballistol stinks. So this hammer is in the down position right now, like so. Remember guys, don't yank down on the screw and don't try to tighten your hammer down with it. This is just holding the hammer from falling, literally falling off. It's not being a mechanical force pushing in this direction. It's just kind of like a lock nut. So I'm going to give it a pull. There we go. So we got a working hammer on one side. Hopefully that makes up for... Alright. Lookily dokily. Put that back on. No, of course, remembering which screw is which is honestly very tricky. Get some of the stuff off my hands. So the ramrod should be what I think is a hole back here. Okay, there is no hole back there. So I made a mistake of putting a screw bit on the end of my rod thinking it would screw in, but it doesn't do that, so I got to get that out. Okay, that came out, no problem. Let's just see the fit, because it does narrow, which is kind of weird. So it narrows right about here. So you can see it won't go any further. So I will mark it. No, do I need to mark it? No, I don't need to mark it. I'm just going to eyeball it, guys. I'm going to take this to the sander. I have one of those belt sanders, and I'm just going to narrow it down. I'll be right back. Alright, so I just narrowed it down a bit. So now it fits into that channel a lot better. Of course, we won't see that final one until I get it reassembled. And I also made a big mess and dyed my hands by mistake because the bottle was leaking. I did not know it. But now I show it. Alright, so barrel, hook, drop. Goes in. Tap, 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 tap. Alright. Barrel back on. Let's give this thing a good clean wipe down with a clean cloth. Alright, so here's the completed gun. There's the butt stock. Maybe give it more light. So there's the wood. Butt plate. It's got a nice shine to it as opposed to that gunk you saw on it earlier. And you can actually see the grain of the wood, which is nice. There's side plate, trigger guard, broken side plate, one hammer now as opposed to two, but only one hammer. Sorry, one trigger as opposed to two, but there was only ever one trigger to begin with, or one hammer, so it is a bit loose. But again, it's not to be shot. You could probably actually shoot this with black powder and be okay. But working down the line, there are the barrels. All nice and converted. They have a nice dark brown patina, not rust. This is not a rusty gun anymore. There's no rust on here that you can find. Alright, let's figure out where I put the ramrod. I'm going to put a cap on this. I just broke it up. The cap off. We'll turn it. Sorry guys. This shed is only about 8 feet and this gun is about 4, so you can imagine the issues I'm having here. Ramrod fits in, snug. I mean, it might come out and recoil, but again, I don't think anybody's going to be shooting this. So there's your ramrod. There's your gun. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Learned something if you wanted to, or just got some sort of cathartic thrill from watching. I know I like watching these. Even if you can learn one little trick, it's kind of nice. But there you go. The completed rifle. So like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.